him, or he can mute
Are you
himself.
talking to me, Chirag? Matt Kirby-Smith? It's me.
No, Matt.
Yeah, but I just wanted to get my AirPods set up to my computer so I could hear you all clearly too. Here's questions and stuff. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Matt. Thank you for joining us. I think we all know who you are, but quickly for the people that might not, we have a lot of people from new markets, people from, I think, 10, 12 different states here. So just quickly introduce yourself. Very
exciting. Great to see the Compass family out there this morning. Good morning. I'm Matt Spangler. My title at Compass is Chief Marketing Solutions Officer. I put solutions in the title. Kind of a traditional CMO title wasn't really exciting to me. I think after being at Compass for a little over 6.5 years, I've come to realize that like what we do at Compass is really about building solutions for our agents to be the best marketers, right? We're not thinking about it in a way that maybe traditional marketing does. And so really been focused for the last 6.5 years on helping all of you build your business, create your own brands at Compass, and be able to, kind of grow, like I said, grow you all individually and as teams to be great marketers on your own. So very excited to be here today with Chirag. He's a Compass legend, and it's really been great to see this business grow and even further help a lot of the agents that are at Compass. So excited to catch up today.
So let's dive into it. And thank you, Matt. I always consider this a family. And I think the greatest privilege I have is just kind of a continuation, right? People ask like, what do you do? I said, I do the same thing. It's just in a different format. So, when people think about the Compass brand, right? And I was watching your presentation and like kind of how it is. How do you describe the brand in your own words?
Brand is an interesting word, right? Because what does brand mean? Like, I think a lot of people, when they think brand traditionally or kind of in a somewhat more like simplified way, they think like a logo or the visual system of a company. But when I think of brand, I really think about it as the combination of the perception that people have of what Compass is and what, your particular like business is, right? That's how you should think about it. It's like every time you send someone an email, right? You're creating a brand perception with someone. So when I think about like the brand, I think about the company. And so to me, like when people ask me like what Compass is, I always say, we are a real estate technology company that combines brings together the best agents in the world with the best design and software to make it easier for everyone to buy, sell, rent a home. I mean, that's kind of my like line that I use. People are just on the street, stop me. What do you do? I work at Compass. But I also like to, to me, a great brand, a great marketing, and great is about personalization. Like, I think that's one of the biggest kind of pillars. It's one of my marketing masterclass, principles is like, how can you personalize things for people? Because the most important thing to them, it's about them, right? Like the most beautiful sound anyone can hear is their own voice or their own name. And so I often try to evolve that for, depending on the audience. If I'm talking to a person I know that's working in tech, I say, hey, we're the Shopify for real estate. We're building software to power the best entrepreneurs in the world in this industry so they can run their entire business and better serve their clients. If it's someone in design, I say, we're kind of the Apple of real estate. We combine the best design and technology together to deliver, a modern platform for buying and selling a home. So I like to throw in those kind of things that people can identify with, and especially when we're a new company. So those are a couple ways I think about it.
I think what you've locked in here, I think is very important for everyone to realize, right? It's a concept of this isn't a canned solution, right? So, and then guys, drop in the chat, how do you describe the Compass brand, right? What I found most interesting, what Matt just shared is, depending on the person, it's how it made sense for them, right? The design aspect, the Shopify aspect, right? The greatest minds in marketing, real estate technology, the in-house marketing, the brands, that's how people think and they can relate to it, but every person relates to it differently, right? So if you were an agent at Compass, I'm interested to see what they say. So guys, put something in here. How would you describe the Compass brand, right? Because people ask you, what's Compass? Whether you're in a new market, an established market, everyone wants you to talk about the company and the brand. And the cool thing about Compass is, Matt, there's so many different things, but that's the same challenge that they have. So How do they nail down that voice?
I think one, it's practice, right? Like I think you have to have a few lines that you feel like you get comfortable with, because so much of a great brand, of an experience for someone is confidence in delivery, right? Because they don't know what it is. So they're leaning into you. You're teaching them this thing. And the more confidence you can have in your delivery, even if it's not exactly what they would expect, then they will buy into that, because they're like, oh, okay, this is what it is. Like this is delivered with an idea that this person has a conviction that this is, and a passion around this area. That's another big principle for me. It's like around the marketing. It's just, connecting to a passion that you can really lean into with confidence is a great way to build your brand, because that is the world we live in. It's infused. People can react to that in a way and get excited to be a part of that with you. And so certainly practice, certainly leaning in with confidence, and being able to, and like I said, early on, personalizing and having a few things that you can, depending on who your audience is, you can adjust that for them. It's like this gets back to the listing presentations, right? Like one of your most important factors of being able to really sell in that moment. And any great listing presentation takes practice.
So here's some of it. I think this is interesting to share with you, because you're the guy behind the brand, right? Like circle, the line, the simplicity, the sleekness, the modernization. So this is what I was hoping to get out of it. Zach says a real estate company connected to the top agents across the country, built on the best technology available to sell your home quicker and for more money. Betsy's, and Zach's in Florida. Betsy's in New York, tech-based real estate firm elevating the industry. Michael, we adjusted to the recipient too. Amit wrote an article, so I'm sure it's very interesting. Real estate technology company, right? Luxury sleek real estate company, right? So it's like we're all in the same place, but yet we can all have a little bit of a different experience, right? So that's fascinating in the aspect of, if you're a consumer and you start thinking brand, how do we get everyone to associate it that, yeah, there are different talk tracks, but it's still the same place?
Yeah, I think like consistency is obviously a huge power, right? I think like anytime someone sees things again and again and again at a quality bar and a level that their expectation is set that first time, and we continue to match it, that is a huge part of establishing brand. That's not just true for Compass, that's true for all of you, right? Like one of the most interesting things I find, like I do refer a lot of people come to me, like, hey, can you connect me to a Compass agent. I try to spread it around different friends and people I've worked with, over the years. And I often evaluate that first text message that they send in the copied text, right? Like I go on a text, I connect somebody to someone I know. Hey, I wanted to introduce you to this Compass agent. What is the text that they send the person right after I respond to them? To me, great agents, it is like a polished, like, effusive, passionate, like, thank you so much. I'm so excited to meet you. When can we meet? Like, on great customer service, right? Sometimes people just go, hey, what's up? Or how you doing? Or like, it's this simple thing where you just think like this moment is your brand. And we have to have quality across, every touch point. And every time someone goes to your social media account and sees a post, or, they have to feel and drive that consistency with going to your website, going to the Compass app, these things. So that is really kind of the touchstone for helping, no matter where you are, in what city across the country, to help establish that. And that's part of what great design can help do, in a design system, and the kind of the basics behind the black and white kind of concept was that it was meant to be a frame that could help us scale the beautiful consistency of luxury, right, to every agent, to every client communication, because that is a thing that infusively they have gotten accustomed to over their entire lives, decades of seeing kind of marketing communication from the world's best brands. There's some foundational things that we've applied there that allow photography and those things to be in the foreground and not competing with what you want to create. So that consistency is, I think, great, very important there, Chirag.
So that's a great concept, right? It's like Compass builds the frame, right? We create the framework, we create the look, and really that's the experience. And the agent's brand is kind of how they work within that frame. Is that
That's
a
right.
simple way to look at it?
Absolutely. When I first started at Compass, I met one, it was called Urban Compass. Just for those who aren't here, before I joined, I challenged Robert and Ori to change the name of the company because I wanted them to prove to me to a certain degree that they were willing to commit to this kind of effort. And so I said, I will join, but you have to change the name and allow me to rebrand everything in the first 6 months of the company. And it was because, and then I went and I met 100 agents at Compass in my first 100 days, one person a day for 100 days. And I asked all of them, like, I love this question. I always come back to this because it's just funny that it gives you a reminder of what the industry was like then. I asked them all if they could show me all the photography that they used to market on social media and explain to me, like, and to kind of show me who they were, who they worked with, and what their brand was. And everyone showed me their headshot. It was like the one photo that everyone used. And I was like, guys, this Instagram exists, like everyone posts new photos themselves, like living their lives like every day. It's like the way that people react to, how do I understand who you are and what you do? And so photography became a huge thing that we really encouraged our agents early on, and still do today, to invest in, to understand that that's a huge part of how to communicate your brand. And so we wanted to, for most of the modern communication platforms, photography and video are at the forefront of your communication. And so how do we create a system that makes that a big part of how you build your brand?
I love what you're saying here. And now I guess we understand why every agent has lifestyle photography.
My thing is not enough. Barely anyone's doing enough in my mind. It's always, you can always do that more and more consistently because there's always a use case for it. There's always a use case to come back to it. It's evergreen. You can bring stuff forward. I'm posting a photo on my social media today that was from a photo shoot in Seattle with Robert for the video we did for the IPO 4 months ago, right? And it's just a great photo that I love, and it just kind of shows a great emotion and a laughter and a feeling, and it feels like me, feels like my brand. And so I'm gonna post that today, but it doesn't mean it had to be something I shot today.
So how often do you recommend that people do their lifestyle photos? Is it once a month, once a quarter, biannually?
I think once a month is great. Yeah, I think once a month is a great structure. Just put it in your calendar, budget it out at the beginning of the year, include your marketing budget, and just have some fun with it. Find a photographer you like working with, talk to your marketing advisor. There's amazing ones in every market, and just make it a part. Have them follow you around one day. Just go on appointments. There's documenting your life. Just one day shoot. At the end of the day, you'll have 20, 30, maybe 40 photos with a great photographer that you can use over the course of the future months, right? Because we built this amazing platform for you all to use, like Marketing Center, but it needs content to, personal content. We're putting a ton of stuff in there for you just to pop in and use, but really for that personalized aspect of it, you also do need some of your own, images of you, of working with clients, of showing your value in that way. And so, an ideal world, you have some stuff with, that, like I said, does show you interacting with your clients. That's the thing that's always a good push for people. It's hard. It's a little bit of an uncomfortable thing to say, oh, I have to schedule a thing. But again, maybe you just have someone follow you around for the day and say, listen, I'm going to be out there in a ton of appointments today, just documenting. And when the customers ask, oh yeah, I've got a photographer, we're shooting some marketing stuff, and do you mind being in the photo? And they often will love it. And it's just, imagine one day for 40 photos. That's 2-3 months worth of marketing content potentially, with committed to that one day. So I encourage once a month as but once a quarter is great if of course not everyone's comfortable doing it, and there's various budgets. So as long as you're making it a mindset to think about it.
I like what you're saying, because it's talking about humifying the brand, right? If you look at a lot of these Instagram pages, most people, when you wake up and you think of social media, I think people forget the word social, right? So people go there to connect with people, right? Like houses are great, but they connect with a person first. So guys, hit yes if you're going to commit to doing once a month. I want to push everyone to do that because look, like it's you, right? So when people think about this, right? So it's documenting what you're doing. It's putting your personal brand inside of the Compass brand, right? So when we start talking about sharing brand and everything else, right? Agents logo, agents brands are more than a logo, right? So Compass creates like a logo in essence, and a lot of people kind of struggle with this challenge. Like, okay, I have a logo. I kind of now, if they're listening to you, they're understanding the concept of a brand is every interaction, right? It's the experience you create for someone. So how does someone effectively pair the Compass brand and their own brand to merge into their communications, experiences, so on and so forth?
Yeah, listen, I think like when we really value like creating lots of great like individual logo marks. You know, it's a great identifier. I always saw it as a signet, as a ring, as a, you know, as the old kind of, you know, cufflinks, as a stamp. Like this is born from a thing, a legacy of how people thought about branding for many, many years, and it's very personal. And so putting it on things and incorporating and including it is a very important branding element for you. And so critical that you like we're going to get better on this on the platform of integrating, you know, your logo, and we already do that a better job today of being able to add it more easily, you know, store it up in your asset libraries. You can add it to all your marketing materials. But I find it's like, you know, find the moments where you can tell a little bit about the brand. Like, was there a story, just like why you liked it or what, you know, made it impactful for you? Post with pride, like when you have it like the logo and saying like, this is what makes me feel and how I like it, how it tells the story of my personal brand. Communicate out to the outside world about that, because people love the backstory on like what the design means to you, and why that direction. And so I encourage you to do that. And then, you know, it's not something I feel like you have to worry too much about, like, oh, I am I incorporating it enough? Or, you know, it's not on everything I have. That's okay too. Again, the areas where people are going to see your brand the most are going to be those digital and social outlets, right, where they're experiencing your brand there. And I always like to try not to like feel like you need to shove the logo into a small space every time, right? Like, have it be featured in certain ways, right? Like create a second slide, which is just your brand slide. The first one's a beautiful photography, and the second one in the carousel is your beautiful brand image, you know? So give it its weight and like the space that it deserves. But don't feel like you have to try to shove it into every kind of little area.
Guys, I want to double down what he says. You don't have to put your logo on everything, right? It's not like a passport stamp where you hit it every time you go. So I think it's overused, right? I love what you said about social media, of like a clean image, right? Let's dive into experiencing the brand, right? If there's like one of the many nuggets that you've shared today, I want to go deeper on that, right? Because I don't think enough people think about that, right? Like I talk to agents like you all day, every day, and I don't know, it's like maybe 1 out of 100 people might say, hey, Chirag, like, how can I get people to experience my brand? And I want to dive deeper on that, right? So for like kind of shifting people's mindset and some actionable items, what are things that we all can do as agents to help people experience their brands better than they do today? Like the text message was a great example. And I guarantee most people never really thought of it that way.
Right. Yeah, I think when you, I guess, think about like how to bring your brand to life and how people experience it, let's think about 4 things, right? Like one is like establishing it, right? And so that's about consistency. That's about going and seeing like auditing where you are communicating and trying to see like, okay, what are the things that I can be consistent about, right? This all starts up front with establishing your value, though. Right? I know that's always very difficult. You know, that's why I love the listing presentation and the listing presentation tool at Compass as a way for you to go and establish, like going through that to establish your value. Like the same things you're going to pitch in a room to a new client is the same stuff that you should be communicating across social media and these other areas. It's the same stuff. It's just that is a great tool for you to be able to go, okay, take a step back, spend some time in establishing your value first. There's even a page I think we put in there called like establishing your value that has like open areas like to fill in and really think back, what are those things? And then after you have that, then establish how you're going to tell that story a few different places, and then make that consistent. You want your website to look great. You want your social media, like everything to be put together. You want your marketing materials to have your own unique look. Spend some time on that in the system. And then I think you have to think about personalization, like I mentioned. And to me, the most powerful marketing is to your sphere, right? Like, would you rather spend the time, going and finding 10 additional deals a year in your sphere than trying to go out and find 10 like random people that are going to interact with you over time? Like, you're going to be establishing a brand consistently in the background, but that's long-term effort. But working on your sphere and really mining that in a better way with smarter marketing is where you start to get that personalization in. There's a great the power of the platform that we've built for all of you is you've got your CRM contacts in, you have your likely to sell, recommendations that pop up every day. Absolutely, that is, to me, likely to sell is the number one marketing tool that we have at Compass. People don't think about it as a marketing tool, I don't think, but it is. Like, because all marketing is like trying to establish reputation and identify potential clients, right? And this is identifying for you potential clients that are sitting right in front of you that are potentially ready for your communication in a way that others aren't. And then being able to send them a kind of friendly, direct, smart, intelligent, personalized recommendation or piece of information about their market or their home or the price point, or something interesting about the market that's happening they might care about, or just a hello, how are you? How have you been during COVID? Etc. That is the best marketing you could possibly do. And there's a great the leveraging tags inside the CRM is one that I just continue to love seeing, that like hearing from agents I'm working with, the success they're having. Creating a tag list that's like, perfect one is New York Knicks right now. The New York Knicks are better than they've ever been in like 2 decades or something. It's crazy, right? So everyone in New York's freaking out. And there's plenty of people who love Knicks. And of course, I know plenty of people over time who are big Knicks fans. And there wasn't much to really email about or care about with related Knicks. I wasn't sending, if I was an agent, any of my clients or anything about the Knicks. But right now, I have a tag list of people who are Knicks fans. And so I can maybe have an event I'm doing or a ticket thing or something, or even just, hey, like, how you been? Can you believe what the Knicks are doing? And I can do that email to a list of however many people, a couple hundred people in my targeted list in seconds by just hitting my tag list for Knicks and sending a nice personalized email. That took me 5 minutes to hit 100 people. And with a fun, bit of marketing inside of it, I'm not sending to those people like, hey, here's how the market's doing. Or maybe I drop it in at the bottom, but it's about the thing that they care about because it's about them. That to me is like the best marketing you can possibly do. And I'm not seeing that done at scale in a way because, people are still learning this idea of tagging and thinking about sending messages about what their clients and they care about, rather than just broadcasting like, here's me. And so that is what that's how I think more and more people should experience you and your brand, and the tools help you build your brand that way.
The way that you simplify all this stuff, right? So if I hear from them, Matt, this is what they would say. Well, I'm told that I need to do my CRM, right? But what you shared is one specific thing, right? Find an interest that people have, click the button and send an email. Seems pretty simple, right? But that kind of care is a personalization of a brand and experience. And I hope everyone gets that takeaway, right? Like 1 + 1 in this case equals 11, right? It doesn't even equal 2. People want that experience, that you care, that you listen. And, I think that's something you really, really highlighted today in your entire conversation, right? And, you come here and I guarantee you people thought what they thought they were going to hear from you. And this conversation we had was 2 very different things. And remember, it's the same thing for their clients, right? The experience that they think that they're going to get from a real estate agent versus an advisor, a consultant, someone who cares, right? So if they had like 3 things that they could do that you love, what are your 3 favorite things that they can do through Compass tools to really push their brand to grow, Like, what are your go-tos?
Well, one is just like I would say, tell people like every morning, coffee and likely to sell. It's like, sit down, coffee. I'm looking at my alerts, like what's in there today, so I can start to see on the market too that day. Two is like personalization and just the CRM tagging thing. That is just like the thing. Get better. Every person I meet in my app, I have a conversation with them. I should walk away with every interaction with some tag I can give that person. Did they have a kid they talked about, some school that in the area that they kid went to? Where do they go to college? Like, you know, I don't know, where did I meet them in a certain neighborhood? And so like every single one of those is a thing to think about. Sorry, I gotta open my door. Is something to think about where you can build that kind of customization over time. So that's two. And then awareness. It's critical that you all in parallel, that's the other important thing, just you need to have awareness and you need to turn on the automation a little bit for just that general awareness around certain areas. And like, there's nothing better than social ads, right? To just drive the overall brand, like, hey, did I see something with Matt like recently? I swear, I've been seeing a lot more of your posts, you know, I don't know why. It's like because you're buying ads and they can't tell the difference between a regular organic post, which Instagram is not serving to them anymore because they want you to pay for it, and a very inexpensive social ad where it just seems like your regular post or a great video you've made, right? So turn on that awareness every month, just to, even if it's a low amount, $100 a month, 150, whatever it is, it's worth it, right? Just so that you drive the more awareness, and then you can take that, you know, you can feed listings in there and you can take that overall awareness back to your clients and show the reach you're having for them, but like have some sort of brand elements on social that you're turning on like it's a machine. And then you don't have to think about it. You can go back and you can see the results and you can kind of change out the imagery occasionally and like keep it fresh with new things. But you got to have that just like ongoing awareness.
There it is, guys. There's your triangle. Number one, likely to sell. I've never heard anyone say this, Matt, in the thousands of conversations they've had. Likely to sell is the result of great marketing, right? How many people do marketing every day for someone to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm considering selling my home? So I think you guys need to really look at that in the context that he said. The second one, right, is the personalization of what you do. Aren't lifestyle photos the perfect thing to feed these social media ads?
Absolutely.
So guys, use your lifestyle photos, run consistent ads, and have it a mixture of your listings as well as your lifestyle photos. And number three, every conversation you have, you guys talk to people every single day. And if you guys really believe that they only talk about selling homes, none of you really are in this business, because you're the therapist, financial consultant, marriage consultant, kids planner, like the list goes on and on and on, right? So if you think about it, every time if you did a tag, you could market a little smarter, right? But that's like a fundamental approach to business.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. It's been wonderful to spend a little time with you. Chirag, thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it. And this is an amazing group. So wishing you all the best this year. Love that, you know, in some places things really feel like they're starting to open up. I can't wait to be able to see some of you all in person here in the coming months ahead. So have a wonderful Tuesday. And
listen, Matt, on behalf of all of us, thank you for your time and also creating something great that 20,000 plus people can share with the world.
Thank you, all of you. Thanks, Chirag. Have a good day, everybody.
All right, you guys have a good one. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, guys, have a great day.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.